Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or wherever you're at right now. It's like pushing noon, but it's, let me have my morning. I kind of just got out of bed and made some coffee. And, anyways, yeah, got a new stuff video for you. I haven't been picking up a lot of things lately, but I have picked up a few things, and they have kind of amassed over the last couple weeks of me kind of saying that I'm not going to buy anything. And, of course, that doesn't ever completely happen. But so anyways, what I have aside from that, what I have kind of, I don't want to say scheduled, but what I have planned, mildly planned for the future, I just finished I'm embarrassed to say I just finished this because it's a short book and it took me like a month to read. Anyways, I just finally finished my copy of Sam Harris's Letter to a Christian Nation. I'm going to attempt on just I don't know, reviewing it, I guess. I've been thinking a lot about kind of where I want to take this channel. I don't even feel like it's right to put that label on there, but I've just been thinking, do I just want to keep doing, just collection stuff, which I'm fine with, and that's kind of really all I ever planned on doing. But there is also a thing, for the last couple of years, I've been thinking about doing reviews. I just don't know, to be honest. I just don't know if I'm cut out for reviews, man. I might be a little bit too lazy. I don't like, say for like a music review, I don't like, listening to an album, forcing myself to listen to it, 10, 12 times. It might be an album I'm not even really very into, and then I have to give a biased or a non-biased review for that, or I don't know. I just don't know if I have the attention span, and I don't know if I'm articulate enough either. And I don't want to do, if I am going to do reviews, I don't want to do half-assed reviews. But anyways, I do have a couple sort of kind of mini reviews coming up soon that I have been working on. I have a stack of CDs that I got earlier this year from a Polish label, and I feel bad that I have not reviewed them, which was the whole purpose of him sending them to me, all the way from Poland, by the way, like I said. So it was really nice of him to do. In an age where most labels are just happy to send you MP3 downloads, there's this guy who actually he's literally sent me a stack of physical media. So I've been working on that. So I think that's coming up. Maybe I'll try my hand out at real full reviews. I don't know quite yet, but anyways, I got stuff I'm working on. We'll just leave it at that. We'll see how it goes, and we'll get on to the items in question. The whole reason that you're here. I'll start off. I was kind of browsing through one of my videos the other day, and a lot of my new stuff or collection update videos are like mixed media, all different kinds of things. And I noticed that I started off with showing books. I'm like, holy shit, what a dumbass move. That's probably the worst way to do it. Because out of all the things I show, I think books are probably near the bottom of bottom of the priority list, or of reasons of why people show up to watch these videos. Thought that was kind of funny. So today I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start with like the coolest stuff, I guess you could say. There's not a lot of extreme metal stuff here. You might have noticed that as almost kind of like a trend in my videos lately. It's not that I'm in no way getting tired of extreme metal, but I've been listening to a lot of different stuff lately, and I think it's fair to say extreme metal maybe isn't my priority right now. But even still, I don't think a day ever goes by where I don't listen to something death metal or something black metal, or it's just almost not possible. Anyways, I made a very small order with the Nuclear War Now. Beloved label. Everyone knows who they are. Everyone loves them. Just got a couple things. Super small order. By the way, I wanted to show these. They always make these really cool promotional cards. I was pretty excited to see this one because this is an album I've wanted for a long time. I have some of their stuff, but I don't have. This is a demo from the 90s from Michigan that is just phenomenal. And it's always bothered me that I didn't have like a physical copy of this, but Lucifer's Hammer, The Burning Church. This is their, I don't want to say their debut demo, but one of their earlier demos, and it is so fucking good, man. American, like I said, Michigan black death metal of, the highest order. Thought that was pretty cool, and I also thought this was cool because I think it was earlier this year, maybe sometime last year, I was trying to track this album down at a decent price. There is a reissue someone did, I think from a couple years ago, that is pretty cheap on CD, but yeah, just kind of a nice reminder that I still need to get this. But we got Vixen, made in Hawaii. Vixen was a Hawaiian kind of heavy metal, speed metal, power metal band, whatever you want to call it, and one of the earliest maybe the earliest band to feature Marty Friedman right there. Marty Friedman, who went on to play in Megadeth and do all sorts of cool stuff. It's a good album. Actually, I can't remember this is an EP or a full album, but anyways, it's good stuff, man. 1983 or 84, something like that. Anyways, so I got this shirt. I really, 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 really dig early, 90s Greek, black and death metal and stuff, and really wanted a Disharmony shirt. Disharmony are one of the, not really one of the major players that you typically hear about. They're not as big as like Verathron or Rotting Christ, but they, but what I can say about Disharmony is they're making really good material right now, as to where Rotting Christ, maybe, they're not making the strongest material of their career. But Disharmony had an album out, I don't know, was it last year or the year before, but it was really good, maybe better than their 90s stuff. And so I got this Disharmony shirt, cool Moyen artwork there. I got it for $5, so you guys can go get one if you want to, if you don't mind the fact that the shirt was printed for Nuclear War, or whatever their festival is called, that they have in Germany every year or whatever. That doesn't bother me. So the back is actually kind of cool. It doesn't bother me that it was made for a festival that I didn't go to, but the back is cool too. Someone were to see me from behind or whatever and pay real close attention, they might be like, whoa, that dude was in Germany. I've never been to Germany. I cannot afford to go to Germany. But like I said, that doesn't bother me. I wanted a Disharmony shirt, and it was $5, so I think it's cool. Whatever. I also got this is random ass shit. I got this I think 2008 or I think actually 2010 maybe. This debut Day of the Beast album. Sorry about that. Been wanting to get this actually ever since then, and I just never made it a priority. Cool Joe Patagano cover art, guy that did all the Motorhead stuff, and yeah, man, good black thrash from Virginia here in the U.S. Just really good black thrash. This is the only thing of theirs I've ever heard. I remember there used to be this really fucking sick blog that I would follow back in around then, 2000, probably 2009 to 2013 or so. It was, remember blogs? Remember people used to blog? But there were metal blogs, and some people still do it, and that's really admirable. But back then, there were a lot of them, and there was this one that I would follow that was the best. It was just mostly black metal or black metal related stuff, and this guy, holy shit, like he was so far ahead of everyone else with black metal. He just had literally you couldn't have better taste than this guy. I know taste is subjective, but he had it all. But don't know what happened to him. So I had this on tape, but I grabbed this because it was also very cheap, and I was like, I'll take a 7-inch. I love 7-inch vinyl, so I don't mind buying a 7-inch of something that I already have. We have Infra from Portugal. This is their only recording so far. Check out the really cool, very Lovecraftian cover art. So this EP is called Initiation on the Ordeals of Lower Vibrations. No, I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds cool, right? It sounds cool when I say it. really good Black Death, doomy Black Death stuff. I don't hear anyone ever talking about them. I don't think they're on a lot of people's radar yet, but I hope that changes. This is the only thing they've released, so that probably doesn't help. But this, I mean, it's only a couple years old, so I would assume that they're working on more. And if your first release gets, you know, put out by Nuclear War Now, I think you're doing pretty well. You got a good start. So what else do we got? This is just some random stuff I picked up with no rhyme or reason as to why I picked it up. I've been kind of working on getting the, I was gonna say early Saxon collection, because I only have some of their stuff, but really, I mean, early, there are really good Saxon albums that aren't early Saxon. Some of their 90s stuff is phenomenal. Their 2000 stuff is great. Some of their 80s stuff is actually not that great. So, I mean, yeah, to say I only like early Saxon, I think that would be kind of a travesty. But there is an undeniable charm to their early albums. I think this is their third or maybe even fourth album, Denim and Leather. And I really like, I've been kind of getting these like book editions. I just think they're really cool. No, I don't really care the bonus tracks. I just want the album, but you know, for $13, they're awesome anyways. I'd rather have this than the regular CD or a digipack. But so of course it's got the original album, and then it's got bonus tracks, which I don't too much care about. It's got a 20,000 foot, the song 20,000 Feet, a remix. I don't even know what that means. Then it's got Bop Shoe Op live at Castle Donington in 1980, and then it's got Denim and Leather Tour live 1981. I don't want to say complete live set, but songs. Most of the album played live in 1981, but yeah, these things are just badass. I got, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them now. Of course, they always have some, you know, some really cool photos, liner notes. I love shit like that. You know, you can't go wrong. So yeah, love Saxon. I don't see how someone could not love Saxon. And like I said, you know, for one of those earlier, you know, new wave of British heavy metal bands, I can never say that without stuttering, but you know, they have some of the strongest material that is later in their career. And they've been consistent. They have a lot of albums. They have, I don't know if they have more albums than Iron Maiden, but they have way stronger material than Maiden does later on in their career. I mean, for example, one of my favorite later era Saxon albums would be Lionheart. Check out Lionheart. It's a great album, man. I don't know when it came out. I want to say maybe 2000, 2005. It's awesome. Here we have one of maybe 5 or 6 2020 releases I've bought so far. I'm a little embarrassed to say that because I'm trying not to completely lose touch. But I was compelled to hear this, you know, after checking out a couple reviews that were all extremely positive, I gotta say. I have not seen a weak review for this album yet, and I'm a fan of this band. We have The Absence of Presence by Kansas. Really cool, really lush, you know, pretty gorgeous cover art there, by the way. I got the Digipack version just because, isn't that cool? Just because it was $2 more and it had a bonus disc, which is just a Blu-ray audio mix of the album. I don't really have any use for that, but I was like, oh, cool, I'll take that. So pretty gorgeous packaging, really. Haven't listened to it yet, so, you know, I can't weigh in on it, on the music, but excited to listen to it. I've only had it a couple days. I got this Corrosion of Conformity album. I got this when it came out originally, but back when I did the Great Purge, I just kind of got rid of all albums from bands that I thought were kind of lesser albums, and I listened to them a little bit less. But I've been rebuying them because I decided that, like, those albums are you know, they may not be the best albums in the band's discography, but some of them are still pretty good, and this one's no exception. Came out in 2005 on Sanctuary Records. In the Arms of God. I think it's a really, really, really good album. I think it's as good or probably better than their last couple releases. Real nice layout, by the way. This album was kind of notable for having a different drummer other than Reed Mullen play on this. I don't know what the story. Reed, who's sadly no longer with us, but back in 2005, he left the band for what reason, I'm not sure. Anyways, they replaced him with a guy who I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure some people might be, and I don't remember his name. But he was a jazz drummer. Like, he played in a bunch of jazz bands and stuff, and so his drumming style is very different. They must have just told him to just, hey man, be yourself. You know, they weren't like, hey, just play like Reed does, you know, like most bands would. Because he does not, it is completely obvious that it's not Reed Mullen. This guy's style is nowhere near Reed's. I mean, you listen to it, I mean, the drumming on this, and it's clear that the dude's a jazz drummer, but it gives a very cool, it gives a very cool vibe to the album, just because the drumming is entirely different than anything you've ever heard on a COC album, and he's phenomenal. Also, he's not just a jazz drummer; he's a really fucking good jazz drummer, and yeah, I wish I could weigh in more on the dude. Like I said, I don't remember his name, and it doesn't matter anyways because I don't know anything that he's done. But he adds a real cool touch to this album, and it's a good album. I was listening to it yesterday. One thing I didn't remember is that there's some real Soundgarden-y stuff on here. I don't remember. I'm terrible with song titles, so I don't remember which ones, but I do remember it being maybe on the second half, later on in the album. Real Soundgarden sounding stuff. For a second, I almost had to I almost paused them. Like, wait, am I listening to Soundgarden now? Like, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I love Soundgarden, and I remember reading a review of Mike Dean one time, and he was talking about kind of professing his love for Soundgarden. So I think it was probably intentional, but good album. I like it. So I've been kind of slowly, we're talking over the last 20 plus years, slowly getting into Pink Floyd. So I found this at a local store, used and cheap, their debut album, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Still haven't listened to it, but I will, and I'm stoked. Debut album, debut Pink Floyd album. This is from what year? This version came out in 94, but I'm trying to find the date. I want to say 68, but I guess they're not going to give that to me. I want to say 68, but don't quote me on that. From what I've heard, I have some friends that are real into Pink Floyd, and from what I heard, this is quite a different sound than what they would become, but I'm okay with that. Years ago, I remember hearing people say there's a strong Beatles influence on this. I don't like the Beatles at all. I am not a Beatles fan at all. So I hope it's not super strong, super Beatles sounding, but I figure I'd chance it anyways. Some really cool song titles on this one. Take Up Thy Stethoscope and Walk. It just sounds fucking awesome. Of course, they got, Astronomy, Domini, which is like one of their classic songs. First song on the album, Lucifer Sam, The Gnome. Yeah, there's some cool song titles on here. It's a good start anyways. So these next two, I got these at fucking Goodwill. I almost never find any music at Goodwill. I have these both and have had them for many, many years, but both of these, I lost the cases years ago, so I've only had the discs, so now it's nice to have the cases back. So I got Super Unknown, Soundgarden, their classic 94 album. This is the album that made them really big. Made them stars. It's a good album. One of my favorites of theirs. My favorite would probably be Bad Motorfinger, but that's a close second. In fact, there have been times when I've called that my favorite album. It kind of bounces around. At this point, I don't think Bad Motorfinger is going to be topped in my mind. But so yeah. Also, I picked up Megadeth Hidden Treasures, which is an EP that they did. I think it's considered an EP. back in the 90s, what, 92, I think? 93? 95? Fuck, I don't know. It's got 90s dates all over it. 95. All right, this came out in 95. These were unreleased songs that were used, well, not really unreleased, but songs that were used for like soundtracks and shit. I want to say some of these were on Last Action Hero, I think. Anyways, some of these are covers. There's an Alice Cooper cover, No More Mr. Nice Guy. That's pretty useless. I don't have any use for that. Paranoid, Black Sabbath, don't have any use for that. But the original songs are really strong. You know, that early to mid 90s era of Megadeth arguably was pretty good. You know, there were some gems, you know, like from Euthanasia, and this has kind of that Euthanasia sound, but a little bit heavier, a little bit more metal sounding. So you got like Go to Hell, Angry Again, 99 Ways to Die. There's some cool fucking songs on here. So if you're a Megadeth fan, I wouldn't sleep on this. And it does have one unreleased song called Problems. Not a real great song. It's kind of punky sounding. It almost sounds like a Sex Pistols type song. That one's not too great, I don't think. But there are some really, really strong songs on there. I also got a care package from my buddy Andy. Sent me some random stuff, but I still appreciate it. It's awesome. There's some cool shit here. Him and I were talking about the Oliver Stone episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, and I was specifically where he talks about his movie Platoon, and I had told Andy that I'd never seen it, and I kind of always wanted to, but especially after seeing that podcast, I really wanted to see it. So he sent me a copy of the movie. I'm going to watch that tonight. I don't know why. I think I forgot to watch it. I've had these a couple days. Definitely going to watch that tonight. Sent me a couple burnt CDs. Got Bear Mace, Butchering the Colossus. I looked it up. It's a death metal band. Actually, I listened to a little bit of it. It's pretty good. Catchy, chunky death metal. I have no idea what this is. African cave recordings from the lunar surface, demons and the Kali Yuga. Sounds awesome, but I have no idea. This one, sadly, I already have this, but thanks anyways. I'll pass this along to a fan that doesn't have it. Genesis, We Can't Dance. This is their 91 album. This is their second to last album they ever did. Not their strongest album, but for Genesis in 91, I mean, there's some decent songs on here. I'll listen to it every now and then. This is a band that I have a buddy who's really into. I've only kind of heard a little bit of their stuff. They're a prog. I don't think I'd really call them prog metal. I think I'd just call them prog rock. You know, they definitely kind of have a vintage prog sound and pretty cool stuff. I can't remember where they're from. They're not from the U.S., I don't think. But we got Hallis with excerpts from the future past. Cool cover art. This came out on The Sign Records. I'm not familiar with that either. They might be Swedish. I'm not exactly sure. Cool, real cool layout. That CD looks awesome. Yeah, cool stuff if you like prog. I think you should look into Alice, definitely. This one right here, I'm not familiar with. I want to say I've heard the name before. I had to do a little bit of research. It's like a Swedish electronic group called The Knife with Silent Hour. I looked it up, and it's a pretty well-liked album from what I can see, from what reviews I kind of looked through. This type of music, it seems like there are definitely some fans of this. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited to hear it. I've been kind of dabbling in electronic music. This came out in 2006, by the way, in Rabid Records. I don't know if it was that old, but yeah. I've been dabbling in electronic and ambient type music for a while. But it's been a slow process, but pretty rewarding when I find something that I think is pretty good. So we'll see what I think about that. then last but not least, sent me this cool Motorhead single. It's called Motorhead. It's almost 1916, which is kind of a cool way to title a single. So yeah, this is basically a single for the album 1916. So it's got the one to sing the blues, I'm So Bad Baby I Don't Care, and then it's got an interview with Lemmy, which I'm excited to listen to that. I have 1916, so I've heard all those songs, but yeah, the interview will be cool because anytime Lemmy talks, something interesting is said. So there's no debating that. So thanks, Andy. Now I have some movies, and I got some real cool ones, I gotta say. Not so much this first one, but I had to get it anyways. I got this at a thrift store, Alien Resurrection. I think I have this on DVD. I've definitely owned it at some point, but yeah. This was the last true... Well, no, it's not. I guess that Alien Covenant was the true Alien movie. Anyway, this came out after Alien 3. Yeah. Oh, shit. I didn't know it was written by Joss Whedon. But anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. It didn't have... James Cameron. James Cameron didn't have anything to do with this. But it still had, Sigourney Weaver. And I don't know. It's an okay movie. It's okay. It's okay. It's not terrible. Kind of like this one right here. Not quite terrible. There was some promise to this, but certainly not great. But we got the most recent Hellraiser movie, Hellraiser Judgment. I've been wanting to pick it up. And Pinhead, not Doug Bradley, by the way. I think Doug is kind of retired. He doesn't want to really do that anymore. But Pinhead, first of all, the guy that plays him does an all right job. Definitely, he does an all right job. But he's in this movie for all of 30 fucking seconds. It's crazy. Pinhead was never in most of the Hellraiser movies a lot. But, man, this might be the shortest screen time he's ever had. So there's some new characters. There's some new characters. There aren't a lot of... I don't know if you could call any of the characters in this Cenobites, but I guess that's probably what they are, but they're not. They're definitely not your traditional Cenobites. You got this guy right here, who, by the way, is the director. So he also plays a character in this movie, and his acting is decent. His character right here is called the Auditor. A decent character. The premise of this movie is kind of dumb, but they definitely kind of amped up the gore factor and the gross, the gross factor for this one, but it's got its strong points, but it's got a lot of weak points. But I don't think you'd be surprised by that at all. So these next two movies I picked up within probably a week of each other. Directed by two guys who I wasn't previously familiar with, so I grabbed two of their movies. Let's see, what are their names? Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson. They've done 3 movies now. I'm going to try to track down their first one. So we got The Endless and Spring. Spring would be my choice of the two. I'll start with The Endless, though. Pretty cool sci-fi movie. I'm gonna have to watch it again. I thought it was good. But maybe not as good as I had hoped. It's basically about, the premise of it is very cool. It's about these two brothers who kind of grew up in this kind of like a UFO death cult. They got out of it, maybe when they're in their early 20s or whatever. They got out of the cult, obviously, they're living out in the real world and, they're struggling. And they decide to go back to the cult compound just to kind of get some closure. Because I guess they left kind of hastily and they just want to get some closure, and things kind of unfold from there. I saw this as, the reason I got this because I saw it on some website where they're saying this movie is super, H.P. Lovecraft inspired, and maybe a little bit. I don't know. I think sometimes people throw around the Lovecraft term a little bit much. Not super Lovecrafty, I don't think, in my opinion, but still a strong movie. I'm definitely going to watch it again. The directors, Moorhead and Benson, actually play the two main characters, the brothers, in this movie, and they did a really good job, man. Their acting is strong, and yeah, I thought that was cool. But this movie, this is one of the best movies I've seen in a while. I really fucking enjoyed this. I thought this was pretty cool how they kind of like Arrow Video does, where they do another cover on the other side, so you can flip it depending on like which cover you like better. This is the one that it actually came this way, but this is the cover that I had seen, and I liked this one better. But anyways, wow, this movie. It's basically about this guy, young guy. He lives in the U.S. He gets back home from college. His mom is sick with cancer. She ends up passing away. He doesn't have a lot. Doesn't have a lot going for him. And one of his buddies, he's like, "Dude, you need to get away. You need to go somewhere. Like, you need to get away." And so he decides to go to Europe, specifically Italy, where he ends up meeting this girl that he likes. And this movie is largely largely like a love story, which is not something I would normally go for. Not trying to say, make myself sound uber masculine or anything, but that's just not something that interests me typically. But this girl, she's got a secret. We'll just leave it at that. She's got a secret as to who she is and her past and everything, and yeah. But the chemistry between the two main characters is just, it's undeniable. Strong acting from both, strong script, just a really good movie. So I picked this one up because it was also on that website where it's talking about Lovecraft inspired movies. This one I would agree with a little bit more than The Endless, although Lovecraft never did any love stories. But there's some definite Lovecraft-esque touches there that make this movie really worth watching. Really, really rewardable. In fact, it's one of those movies that I watched, and I liked it so much that I'm like, I'm not sure when I'm going to watch it again. I probably won't watch this again for years to come. We'll see. Really strong. I highly, highly recommend this. And I recommend this next one as well. But at least this one I've known about for years. We got one of Guillermo del Toro's earlier movies, The Devil's Backbone. It's all in Spanish. Brings back some Pan's Labyrinth vibes for sure. This came out in 2002. Really, really good movie. It's during the Spanish War. I forgot Guillermo del Toro did that movie Mimic. Shit, I'm gonna go get Mimic now. I read the book, and I think I've seen the movie. But anyways, during the Spanish War, there's a I really don't know how to talk about movies without spoiling them, but it takes place at an orphanage. We'll leave it at that, I guess. It's also kind of a ghost story. Very strong acting, even by the kids, man. Most movies, we all know this, kids are not always the best actors, and there's a lot of kids in this movie, and they're really good. Del Toro did a great job at bringing out, performances from these guys. Really, really, really good movie. I highly recommend it. Got a couple more. This one I have on Blu-ray, and I just bought it earlier this year or last year, and I already can't fucking find it. So I picked this up at Walmart for $3, I think. It's got Bone Tomahawk. I was first interested in this movie because S. Craig Zoller wrote and directed it. S. Craig Zoller used to be a writer for Metal Maniacs. Any writer for Metal Maniacs who now does movies, I'm going to want to see their shit. But I had also heard really good things about this movie around the time that it came out, and it's good, man. It's really good. It's a Western with, like, some horror touches. And, man, is Kurt Russell just not meant for... Dude, he was just born to play in Western movies, man. He's just great. He's great in this. You know, there's other good acting, too. You got Patrick Wilson. Patrick Wilson's always good. Matthew Fox, Lily Simmons, and Richard Jenkins, man. Richard Jenkins is in this. But it's funny because it doesn't look like him, I guess because he's got a beard and he wears glasses, and it doesn't really even sound like him. Like, he plays a character completely different to what he usually does. I love Richard Jenkins, by the way. Good movie, man. There are some brutal scenes in this one. I really have been enjoying Zoller's film output, though. He's done, 4 movies or so. I'm only missing one of them, but yeah, it's really, really good. Now, I know I usually only talk about horror and sci-fi on this channel, and that's mostly what I collect. I don't usually collect other genres, but this one right here is just a part of my childhood, and I didn't have it on DVD. I have it on VHS, but didn't have it on DVD, and when I saw this I think I was at a thrift store, of course I grabbed it. One of my all-time favorite movies, probably in my top 5. Sorry about that, my battery keeps dying. Fucking Wayne's World, man. I don't know, by the way, how much you missed. My stupid iPad, when it goes from like 15 to 10 to 5% battery, it'll freeze. So you might have missed about a minute of audio there. But anyways, I was just saying how this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Saw it at a thrift store, had to get it. Fucking Wayne's World. Last but not least, I wanted to get this when it came out. I never really make live stuff a priority. So seeing this at a thrift store for like $1, of course I had to grab it. Rush and Rio. I've heard it's great, but it's Rush, so of course it's great. One of my all-time favorite bands. Came out in 2003. Nice live DVD. They're kind of like almost not as bad as Maiden, but they have a lot of live stuff. Yeah, so it's cool. I've never had a Rush live DVD, although I do have a couple live albums. It's cool to have, and it's cool to get it for like 50 cents. Anyways, kind of a long video for me, almost 40 fucking minutes, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. Let me know what you guys, I don't know, talk about any of this stuff. Do what you want. Leave comments. Say hello. Whatever you want to do. Anyways, that's all I got for now. Thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll talk soon. Cheers.